Do you think they actually come back and call meetings and talk to people?
I think this is a question of investigation. And even if they call, do you think one meeting, calling people and talk to them about a given information that is going to impact them for many years, just one time, is that enough? Even if they have to call, how many times should they be calling these people so that they interact with them? Okay. Thankfully, though, today we have so many of our youth who have access to education. Some of them have graduated. We have a powerhouse. Many of, statistically, like a lot of youth have completed high school, and majority of them have joined tertiary education, either online or stuff like that. So empowering these people wherever they are, in terms of meeting with them constantly and using them as a platform for disseminating information will be very powerful. That is what I think.
But I think we are also told sometimes one of the things that have been happening, especially remember the Gen Z protests that have been happening in Kenya, and you find the elites, the big people, you find that they're saying the youth are too young, they're very inexperienced to understand the issues of the country, for instance, and they're too young to understand the issues of the community. And what is your take? Are we too young to understand? Are the youth too young to understand the information, or we do not have roles? What roles do we play in providing information? Because one of the things that I actually have heard from even the community here is that the youths are actually the ones who are passing wrong information to them.
Okay, it depends. I think the context of being too young, for me, I would look at it this way. When you give information to anyone, first of all, the target is you need somebody to consume this kind of information. You need them to go with the right idea of what is happening, right? And I agree that some of the youth, of course, if we talk about the age bracket of 17 years below, they might not have the necessary time to digest this kind of information. But it is powerful if they know, because you can't deny someone information based on their age. And yet you expect them to live and be impacted by this information. I give you the example of Shirika Plan, right? Shirika Plan is going to be a case where the youth will be powerfully impacted. Because these are people who are growing. These are people who are going to be active in the job market. These are people who will be thinking of, what is it going to be for me? What are my future plans? What am I going? So their objectives need to be crafted. Their life goals needs to be crafted from this kind of information. And so I don't think necessarily that I'm going to accept that the youth are too young. I think that is for me personally, though. I think that would mean that we are intentionally saying that our youth are not responsible enough. No, there could be some, even the grown-ups. I will tell you something. Even a foolish person grows old, right? So if a foolish person grows old, you don't assume that they are necessarily wise because they are what? They are old. So you don't also assume that every young person here is in his experience. It's not about experience. We are talking about information consumption and getting the right information. Whatever you will do with that information is not really a business here, because you will make an informed decision based on the information that you have been given. And that is what counts. That's what I look at it. So my take here is that give the information to the youth. The youth are a powerful voice. Could it also be a case scenario where that the youth don't understand this information, and so they're making up a conclusion based on them being misinformed? Yes? And if a youth is informed, they will talk about it, that this is the information, it is corrected like that, but this is what I'm going to decide. You would have supported them to make an informed decision.
Just the last question on information and cultures. Kakuma is comprised of diverse cultures, and sometimes information could be misinterpreted due to cultural differences. What do you say about this?
Okay, there's a lot that needs to be done on cultural competencies, even for the people who are working with with the refugees. Yeah, the refugees have different cultures. They have different traditions and practices. In some traditions, if you want to pass the information to the community, you need to talk to the elders. The elders have a way to reach out to the people. The elders have cultural, practices. I give you an example of the Kalangbor, yeah, and of course the Didinga. There was a time they had their traditional dance, but before they came to the traditional dance, mobilizing the community, they have had their meetings, right? They have a way of speaking to the youth. The Dinkas do the same. The Nuer do the same. The Acholis now, they have started doing the same, talking to the youth in a certain way so that they can transform. They can get. So imagine in such a scenario, if you give them, empower them, there's a way they talk. But I am not going to conclude entirely that the misinformation rather is coming from a point of view of not understanding the diversity within. But what I do say, which I can assert, is that I think understanding the way different cultures.
Let me give you.
Yes.
Let me take you back.
Okay.
Remember a long time ago. I think I'm not going to mention the tribe when the IRC introduced toilets instead of people going to the lager and
yes, I understand.
And then some people say, some community said, we don't do this, or our women can't use toilets just within the compound because they might not give birth.
Yes.
So this is now information. You are giving people the right information, but culturally, that information does not fit into their ways of life.
Okay, you would say that, but I think the entry point, you see, the problem with information giving is the entry point. I'll give you an example. We were implementing one of the projects, yeah? We went to one of the villages and we found these people are keeping cattle and goats. So in the back of our mind, we thought, this is education. We want to construct a school here because we believe that school is very important. But you see, the point here is the entry is bad. We came with our own understanding of what is good for this community. And we told them, that this is. So, after constructing a school, 3 months down the line, we went back to do needs the assessment to ascertain the usage of the facility. You know what was happening? Everybody had kept their cattle and the goats inside the school. And we asked them, we said, no, school is not a priority. The priority right now is what? Is this. So what I'm saying is that the entry point, at what point did they come to tell the community that this is the toilet and explain how toilet is, the latrine is useful? Important. If you tag the importance and you give adequate information for people to use, people will use it. What I know is that I know that story. What happened is that somebody came and saw the need that people need a latrine because they saw people going outside. You see? They have not taken into account that these people, where they're coming from, it is a vast land, an open land. People used to go outside there and relieve themselves. But now Kakuma is confined, you see? So instead of coming to say, this is a confined place, give them information, empower them. The moment you empower them, you meet women, you meet men, and you empower them, you tell them the reason how this thing is going to transform their lives, And start with the people who will give their okay, will accept. And then gradually, if I see something is good with my neighbor, all of a sudden, it will be something. Now, let me ask you, are the same communities, are they not using latrines now? They are. They're embracing. Why? Because slowly, they look, they check other communities using it. They check their neighbors using it, and everybody is embracing it. So I think the entry point at that moment, and also empowering people, the grassroots people with the right information was a miss. Maybe they call the block leaders and say, we are going to construct for you latrines. And this is where the information goes wrong.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. And thank you so much for coming to today's episode. And asante sana, and thank you so much. We see you again next weekend. We will bring you more stories. We'll bring you more life. We'll bring you more information. And thank you so much for coming, Jimmy.
Thank you so much. Actually, for inviting me. And I'm glad that I could contribute to 404. And if you have any kind of discussion, I am always open to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. We'll be back with more episodes and more stories, and we will always have you here. Asante sana.
Asante sana.